What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 24, I believe, of the Miami Marlins Out of the Park Baseball 25 series. We're here at the end of, actually, the start of the playoffs, 2032. The Marlins finished 105 and 55. There was really no need to check in at any point. We had a really solid end to the season. We finished August 22 and 5, an excellent month. September was 19 and 9, and then October we were 2 and 1. So, we had a great season. Not quite as good as last year. We were third in runs scored, first in runs against. Last year, I believe we were 1 and 1. They didn't hit quite as many home runs as last year. A lot of that was losing Corbin Carroll, of course, along with like Luke Adams and Jacob Berry, who for their deficiencies were home run hitters. So that accounts for a lot of that. But we're still, the best offensive team in every other regard. Pitching wise was business as usual. We were fantastic, although not as spectacular as last year. Some of our guys, underperformed. Which I guess we could start there. So Yuri Perez had a fantastic season. 6.3 WAR, led the NL. I'm praying that he finally gets a Cy Young here. Pitched 219 innings, which is awesome. Won 21 games, led the league in wins for the second straight year. Led the league in quality start percentage. And really, outside of this last start, he was pretty sensational. Throughout the full season. I mean, May was a little rough, but besides that, he was awesome. He was great. So, not really much else to say. He's been a mainstay in this rotation for probably close, coming up on a decade. And then Jason DeGaro, a really solid season. Not quite as good as last year, according to ERA and FIP. Allowed a few more home runs, but besides that, he was basically the same pitcher. Threw a few more innings, didn't get hurt, which is good. And he was, really good season. A really solid number 2. And then Jesus Teleka. I mentioned him before Eric Spiegel because we'll get to him. But, after a little bit of a disappointing start to his major league career, May wasn't anything special. And then, June was pretty brutal. But we hung in there with him. July was much better. August was solid. His FIP was good. The ERA wasn't great. But then September, and then I guess he didn't start in October, but his September was awesome. He had a bunch of really good starts. This is 5 excellent starts in a row. So he's going to be our third starter, riding the hot hand here. 24-year-old rookie. Will be starting game 3 of this NLDS. Then Eric Spiegel, really disappointing season. He was excellent last year. After being kind of crappy in 2030, if we're being blunt. And then, this year was a total mixed bag. He'd have a couple good string of starts in a row, and then throw a bunch of stinkers. And there was the home run ball that got to him this year, 1.4 up from less than 1 last year. He also walked way more guys than last season. So, still a good 3rd, 4th starter on most teams, but he'll be our 4th starter here in the playoffs. The FIP and ERA about 7% below league average each. Only put up 1.7 WAR in 174 innings. Not really good at all. But we don't really have any other options, as we'll get to. I guess we do, but none of them are really great and have the experience that Spiegel does. Jorge Mercedes, maybe his best season in the majors. He was spectacular. 1.96 ERA. The FIP looks really good. Not that really matters. He is a free agent and he wants big money. And he doesn't want to sign anymore, but he was asking for like $20 million for 4 years. We'll let him go for that price. But, he saved 47 games this season. He was awesome. And Hunter Green, man, just as good in his own right. I mean, exactly what we were asking for. We tried this a few years back in 2030. Didn't really work out. He was okay, but he wasn't really good. And then, he took off a year to start for half the year, came out of the bullpen for half the season. And this year came back, full-time reliever, no funny business. And he was awesome. So he was a really steady eighth inning man. Then Hagen Smith, we tried him out as a starter. He wasn't bad. He was actually pretty good according to ERA, but his FIP was out of control. Too many home runs. Then I moved him to the bullpen. 23 innings. Wasn't good with the home run ball. The strikeouts ticked up. His FIP minus was at 51. So even if the ERA results weren't great, I still trust him here in the seventh, heading into the playoffs. Dominic Fritton, yet another great season. The FIP did tick up. A few more home runs than he allowed last year, but overall, a good season from him. Joey Breen bounced back after a really tough start to the season where he was walking like 8 guys per 9. He was pretty bad. He was good in April, and then May was a disaster, and then really was excellent after the All-Star break. And he makes the playoff roster. Quentin Lowe had a really good season as a low risk signing. 67 FIP minus, 152 ERA plus. Through 60 innings for us. He has the stamina to start theoretically, and we did actually go and sign him to a 2-year, $1.5 million deal, team option for the second year, player option for the second year. It was just too good to pass up when I was looking at extensions. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. Keep him with the team. And then Yohan Duran, not quite as good as I expected him to be. It wasn't exactly pretty. We got him late July. He got off to a really tough start, giving up way too many home runs. But then September and October, he was awesome in about 12 innings or so. The results weren't great, but I still trust him here. He's going to pitch some high leverage for us, and then Alexis Sedina is going to get the last roster spot here. Only threw 19 innings for us, but I just want to give him a shot. I'm really intrigued about the strikeout and walk stuff in the regular season. The home runs will come down in the future, but I don't know. He just seemed like a good option to put on the playoff roster here as a long man. I don't even know if he'll pitch, but it's an option for us. So we get to the offense where things went really well. You look at all the guys we have above WRC pluses, above 100, pretty much our whole lineup outside of Jody Watson, but even he wasn't far below league average. So let's start at the top. Luis Herrera, 384 average. He was flirting. He was up for like 387, I think was his high down the stretch. His August was maybe the most absurd month I've ever seen. Maybe only topped by like a month that he had last year. But 248 WRC plus. It's like Aaron Judge numbers, like just ridiculous. He's just incredible. Just the best player in baseball at this point. And we got him on our team, and he's only 23 years old. Back-to-back 11.5 win seasons. Yeah. There's really nothing else to say. 384 average. It's crazy. Then Royce Lewis, his kind of running mate here, played the full season, 32 homers, 104 RBIs, walked 12% of the time, only struck out 14.7, which is a career low. The BABIP was a little elevated. He's more of a 300 career guy, looks like, but 154 WRC plus, 5.7 WAR, and that's with like bad defense. He was playing a lot of second. Started the year at third, didn't really go back there, but he was playing second and first for most of the season. He was much better at first base, and that's where he'll be moving forward and going into the playoffs here. So I feel a lot more comfortable with him there. And then Eduardo Watkins, really good year, 150 WRC plus in 98 games. Did wind up staying healthy after that he got back from that injury. We're resting him under 97%, just trying to keep him fresh, basically. But yeah, he had a really good year. 5.7 WAR in just 97 games. Not quite as good as his 7.4 in 97 games last year. Yeah, great defense out in center. Plus defense out in center. And just a great player. And a good season in limited time. We called up Omar Alfonso to be our backup catcher, and he was low-key like a stud down the stretch. Did a 3-hit, 4-hit, 2-hit game in this little string, 142 WRC plus and 48 plate appearances. I would trust him if something was happening to Chad Rogers. Justin Foshke, really solid season, 1.8 WAR as a primary DH. So like that was all. Yeah, he played 3 innings in the field. For some reason, he was out in center, but yeah, as a primary DH, 2 WAR is like fantastic. 115 WRC plus, drove in 78 runs despite just 11 homers. So really good season from him and a good signing. He was only like $5 million, so good stuff there. And then Luis Rosado, man, finished off the year with a 5-for-5 game to bring his average up to 375 games, 291 plate appearances. Everything's indicating that he's going to be a real star player for us, and his potential has jumped up a ton since we brought him up. After kind of falling the past season or so, he's kind of back in premier prospect rankings. So he'll be our second baseman probably moving forward. I don't want to move Herrera off of short. So, until one of their defenses declines, Rosado will be at second. Or if Rosado really jumps up to an 80 range, then we'll be forced to move him. But yeah, we're gonna do this for now. Or Rosado could even play third, but the way that we have it lined out, this works out better at second. Pete Crow Armstrong, really good season, 120 games, which is more than I would have expected out of him, being wrecked and everything, and not really playing much. But this is about what he was doing in Chicago, 100 to 120 games besides last year. But the bat really came back this year. 110 WRC plus, 3.1 WAR. Really good defense out and right. He was forced to play center way more than he should have. But he was a good defender out in right field. Really good signing. And we do have him for a team option, $9 million. I don't know if I'll pick that up. We'll kind of see. Maybe this playoffs is a chance to prove that. He's definitely worth $9 million, but the injury risk is kind of the big determining factor there. And Carlos Correa just came back. When he played, he was good. A really solid third baseman. Still plays the field pretty well, but only played 26 games for us this year. But he's back for the playoffs, just came back. So he'll be at third base, kind of batting at the bottom of the order. Hopefully he can bring a veteran presence that could help us win. And then Chad Rodgers, really good bounce back season, 104 WRC plus, 2.8 WAR. Drove in 88 runs, 16 homers. Good season. This is kind of what I expected out of him. I didn't really expect him to repeat the 2030 season. This is a good middle ground. This is a good player. But the one issue that I have is that his defense was not good. He was replacement level framer, or I guess league average framer. And the bat has fallen off just a bit. So I'm not sure what happened to the defense this year. He still rates out well there, but just interesting. Maybe that's the reason our pitching staff fell back to maybe just really good instead of elite this season, but still a good season from Chad. And Travis Bazzana, a solid year. Definitely fell off in the second half, and he kind of got semi-benched. His first part of the year was really good, and then July on was just very meh, and he's not even starting anymore because moving Royce Lewis to first. This kind of gives us a better arrangement of players, I think. I guess we could bench Correa against lefties, or against righties, but maybe that actually works out better. We could still play Bazzana because he was good against righties this year. So that would require me moving Royce back to second. Don't really like that much. We'll just stick with this for now. And we'll get to Jody Watson. So kind of thrust into action earlier than expected. He was playing excellent in AAA. So I don't know if he was one of our top prospects. He's definitely graduated at this point, but not like a guy who's necessarily on my radar to be a starter this season. I thought maybe he could mix in for a backup role or something, or fill in for a little bit, but he wound up starting in left field or right field for pretty much the whole season. Fourth round pick back in 2029. I saw him as a pretty good upside guy, but also a really good floor, but he's exceeded that. And, a league average hitter at age 24 is really good. And his first taste of major league action. So really good season from Jody. Then you got Cedane Rafaela, a good year overall. Kind of what he's done for the past couple of years. I mean, he's played on this team for a long time. This is his seventh season here. He's fluctuated from being about, a little bit above league average to, a a little bit below league average at the bat, mostly below. But a 1.1 WAR season, being hurt for a lot of the year. A good year overall from him. The Jazz, unfortunately, just kind of lost his job here as we went down the stretch. He was good pinch hit appearances, but negative .5 WAR in 98 games. He got hurt, and he'll be on the playoff roster, but I don't expect him to play. And this will probably be it for him in Miami. He doesn't want too much money, so I don't know. We'll see. Then Jesus Flores, the numbers don't look great, but it felt like he played a lot better down the stretch. Like August, September, October were good months. I'll take that. Some of that was in AAA, but an 81 WRC plus, playing good defense over at third, and had a couple good games to end the year. So, despite him probably just being a bust and not being the superstar we thought we were getting at number 12. He's still emerged as a good player here at age 25, and a useful player. So that's all the guys who are on the playoff roster. Ethan Wheeler actually never wanted coming back up. I just really didn't have a role for him at any point. He was pitching well in AAA, so get a little confidence. I don't know. I like some of the other guys that we called up. Eric Wheeler. Another guy who didn't really come back up, only pitched 9 innings for us this year. Dan Petrie wound up throwing 2 innings, wasn't really impressive. Palmer and Hoskins didn't make it up to the team. Dykert didn't pitch too much, and then Vince Crafts, another guy on our 40-man, just not really any type of player at the moment for us. Then other guys that were left off the playoff roster, Shane Baz. So we picked him up for kind of nothing. It wasn't a huge give up. We gave a guy Gadea, who didn't do too much for Tampa, but wasn't bad. And he's still young. But we gave him up. They ate all the contract, and I kind of see why, because he immediately fell off in the scouting report right after I picked him up, and then lost a little more velo. The stuff went down. Overall, decent numbers for us, but I'm leaving him off the playoff roster. An unfortunate decline for him. Jamie Casey wound up playing pretty well in 10 starts, 11 games, 50 innings. The FIP looks really good. The ERA was about league average. So a piece for us moving forward, just didn't make the cut. We talked about Diger. Jason Flores had an okay year. I just kind of struggled down the stretch for us. Did also add a sinker to his repertoire in I think it was the August scouting report. Maybe it was just the September one, but threw 71 innings for us, and he was useful enough, but don't really trust him going into the playoffs here. And then Brad Sonneborn, he was okay. He was a lot better than he was last season for us. 63 WRC plus, about replacement level. You could do worse for a backup infielder, but another guy who just didn't really make the cut. And then Deion Cole wound up playing a little bit as I was kind of trying to give Watkins some time off. Using him sparingly down the stretch. He wound up playing 10 games, 25 plate appearances, struck out a ton, but, small sample size stuff. Okay, so that's that. This is the lineup. This is the rotation for the playoffs. We will play Cincinnati, who always gives us a tough time. Their offense is definitely falling off. Did they wind up trading or getting rid of Juan Soto? Oh, no, he's hurt. You see him right there. So that's big. He's still a premier player in the league, even if his defense sucks. It looks like he's played a lot of first base. But they still have a really good team. Edwin Arroyo, for some reasons, at second base, but premier player over there. Noel Marte is playing short, which I would flip those two. But put up 7.7 WAR, excellent player. Jeff Britton, I don't know where they got this guy, a 6th round pick back in 2027. Had a really good year, not a power guy though. Ellie De La Cruz still hanging out here, still a really good player. So, that top 4 right there is scary. TJ Holmes is a young guy who they called up, played well. Alfredo Duno, a good defender, decent bat. Hector Rodriguez, a decent enough center fielder. Zach Neto still playing first for them for some reason. And Gabriel Gonzalez is their right fielder. Rotation, they have Connor Phillips, who's a total beast. A little very what do you call it, volatile, but a good arm. Jake Peters is a good, solid number 2. Didn't have a great year, but probably a better pitcher than that. And then they picked up DL Hall and kind of did his best Carlos Rodon impression and didn't really impress. But, a power stuff guy definitely could beat us in a playoff series. And then Cater Montero was actually pretty good arm for them. Their bullpen was 12th in the league, starters ERA 14th. So definitely a winnable series. This is not the Reds team of the past, especially with Soto out. So we'll have Perez, DeCaro, Teleka, Spiegel in the series. So let's do it. Connor Phillips against Yuri Perez, game 1. Make sure he's rested. He's good. And we win 3-2 in 11. A walk-off sac fly by Justin Foscue. Jody Watson has a couple hits. Leonardo Watkins 2 hits, and Foscue drives in 2 of our 3 runs. And looks like the other one was something else happened because it wasn't an RBI. But Perez a really good start. Green, Mercedes, and Smith close it out. So we take game 1. Jason DeCaro will be on the mound for game 2 against Jake Peters. And we take game 2, 5-4. And DeCaro is out for 3 days. Doesn't matter too much. He probably won't pitch again for the series. It looks like it was a walk-off single by Luis Rosado. The young second baseman has a couple hits and was the hero tonight. Chad Rogers drove in 3 runs. And Herrera also had a home run in this one. Didn't play well last season in the playoffs, so we're hoping to get a little bit more from him. DeCaro got hurt, but Sedana came in, gave a little bit of length. Duran gave up a run in 2 1/3, but overall pitched well, and Hunter Green closed it out. Or picked up the win in the 9th, and then we walked off. But okay, so we're looking to pick up the sweep here. We'll give it to the ball to the rookie Jesus Teleka against DL Hall, kind of DL Hall's replacement here for us, even though he only made 3 starts. But let's do it. Teleka against DL Hall, and we win in 11 again. So the margin for victory, very narrow this series, but wind up sweeping. It was a Justin Foscue solo homer. What a signing that's been. Even just off this playoffs alone, it's been worth it. Jody Watson has a couple more hits. Royce Lewis had a couple hits in this one too. Jazz had a pinch hit appearance. Rosado drove in 4 runs. Looks like it was a grand slam off DL Hall in the 2nd inning. What a series from the youngster. And Justin Foscue won MVP of the series. Not surprising. He was really good, but he was a key piece in all 3 wins. So good stuff there. So we will have a couple days off here, I assume, until the next series. I do have to do international stuff, so I will jump off for that, and we'll come back for the NLCS. All right, so the second series of the postseason here will be in the NLCS against Arizona, who I feel like we play a lot. Hunter Brown will be on the mound for game 1. We'll have Kevin Martin in game 2. David Bertolette in game 3, who's a fastball-only guy who somehow exceeded expectations of what I would say at least. And then Kruz Schoolcraft, hell of a name. But looks like he's bounced between the majors and minors this year. He'll start game 4. 5th in runs against, 4th in runs scored. Their offense, they got Dylan Cruz at the deadline. And kind of how I expected. He did fall off. The BABIP was inflated in the first half. He's probably somewhere in the middle of these 2 players, but he's their leadoff hitter. Tommy Troy's their 2 hitter. And they still have Jordan Lawler, who's still a premier player in the league. 5.9 WAR season last year. You got Joel Brantley, their first baseman, big slugger, had a good year. Al Thomas still hanging around in the desert. Decent enough player. Gabby Moreno, still their catcher, still a really good player. Drew Gilbert had a solid enough season. Luis Angel Acuna, about a league average bat, good glove. Then Jaden Stroman, the rookie, apparently is starting here at shortstop to be in the playoffs. So they have a ton of injuries, looks like. Jose Butto, who is a really good arm. for them this season, when they got him in a trade from Jacksonville, it looks like he has an unknown injury. Dylan Lesko, unfortunately, needs elbow ligament reconstruction surgery. They're definitely going to miss him. That was right at the end of the year, too. That's unfortunate. Edward Cabrera, old friend of ours, made 16 starts for them. He'll be out. Kawado, a guy who made 5 appearances for them. Matt Kidder. Rio Hirano, an old friend of ours as well, way back in the day. 2025. He's just underperformed at every stop. Career 2.5 WAR in playing big, a lot of games over the course of his career. Theoretically, shouldn't be a bad hitter, but he just is. But he's out with a concussion. And Zach Guerra, a guy who came up, but he's also out. So, a good team. But we should hopefully take care of business here. So we'll have Perez, DeCaro, Teleka, Spiegel. Teleka did pitch really well in that start. I don't know if I went over that, but he was excellent. Gave 2 homers, but besides that, was really good. So it'll be Hunter Brown against Yuri Perez. Game 1 of the NLCS in Miami. And we take it 7-2. Big day from Chad Rogers. Herrera looks like he had another home run in this one. Yuri Perez, a really good start. And Durant picks up, how many outs is that? Be 9, 10, 11 out save. Struck out 7, didn't give up a hit, no walks. That's awesome. And that makes the trade worth it. If he pitches well here in this postseason, who cares about what happened before? So we'll have Kevin Martin against Jason DeCaro in Game 2, a rematch of the second game of the season, I believe. And we win 4-0. Pick up a big win to go up 2-0. Herrera drives in a couple more. Watkins had a home run, and Herrera also had a home run, 2-run shot. Solo shot from Watkins, and that's pretty much all the offense it needed. Royce Lewis looks like he drove in another run as well. So it's been a good playoff from Herrera after really sucking last year, quite frankly. DeCaro, a great start. Lowe and Mercedes close it out. So we have an off day, and we head to Arizona for a pair of games. We'll have Jesus Teleka and Eric Spiegel in these two. So we'll have a couple of young guys. I didn't mean to do that. We'll have a couple of young guys, David Bertolet and Cruz Schoolcraft, making the starts for them. And Jesus Teleka, Eric Spiegel. Let's do it. Game 3. Going to go up 3-0. And we lose 8-7 in 10 innings. Looks like it was Dylan Cruz walk-off double. Watkins, Lewis both have 3-hit games. Watkins, Watson, whatever. He had 2 hits. Carlos Correa had a couple hits too. He's really struggled to start the playoffs here. And Teleka did not make it very deep into this game. I'm going to have to pause it really quick. All right, so we have Game 4. We'll have Schoolcraft against Spiegel, making his postseason debut this season. And let's do it in the desert. We win 8-1. Big win. Go up 3-1. Jody Watson, another big game. 2 hits, 2 ribbies. Pete Crow Armstrong, 2 RBIs as well. Watkins, Lewis both drive in 1, and Rogers as well. So an excellent start from Spiegel. 6 2/3, 1 run, 0 earned. Joey Breen closes it out in a good bullpen performance. So we have a chance to win the series here back at home. Rematch of Game 1. Hunter Brown, Yuri Perez. Let's do it. We take it 6-3 in advance to the World Series, baby. Jody Watson, another big game. 3 consecutive 2-hit games. Drove in 4 runs. Chad Rogers, a couple hits. Royce Lewis, a couple hits as well. The bottom order hasn't really done too much. Rosado had a couple good games in there, but Foscue and Correa have been black holes. But we've been fortunate enough to hold that off. And Perez, a good quality start. Fritton and Mercedes close it out. So we will advance to the World Series where we will play Chicago. And I see the Game 1 matchup, Game 2 matchup now. Noah Schultz will be on the mound in Game 1. And it'll be Noble Meyer, old friend, who we traded away way back in the day for Luis Robert. A trade that didn't really work out for us. Robert, by the way, is turned into this. So, our owner wanted us to extend it after this. That would have been a huge mistake, even if it was a 4-year deal, which I don't think it was. Yeah, no, they're still paying for that contract now. So, tell my owner to suck it. But yeah, we gave him up in that deal. Obviously, I didn't really think he would work out, and he clearly has for Chicago. So we can't start Perez game 1, but he's good for game 2. So we'll go DeCaro game 1. Perez. Honestly, Spiegel pitched really well last start, so I'm going to go Spiegel, Teleka. And they'll have Noah Schultz, Noble Meyer, Cam Leiter, Ian Seymour as their 4-man rotation. Let's check out their offense really quick. They do have Ethan Holiday, who's a really good player. A disappointing season this year, but was playing hurt, it looks like. Jacob Gonzalez apparently is their 2-hitter with a 86 WRC plus. Interesting. Jesus Rivera, a big power bat. Looks like he could be a stud shortstop, but they're playing him at second. Ethan Holiday's a decent enough shortstop. So Nicholson Montgomery, premier player in the league. Got a big contract way back in the day, but he's done nothing but rake since he came to the majors. So 44.4 WAR already for him here at age 30. So on a Hall of Fame trajectory, he's their 4-hitter. You got Sergio Ibarra. Good prospect, but hasn't done much in the majors. They got this guy, Bahina, who hasn't played in the majors yet this year. He's their 6-hitter. Steve Lorenzen, Parker Meadows, a great defender out in center, obviously. Then Christian Serta, a really good defensive catcher with a decent enough bat. They're missing Josh Smart, David Frescus, and James Tibbs, who looks like he was a good player for them this year. Ruptured his Achilles. It's unfortunate. Ian Seymour, old friend of ours. We'll start in game 4, by the way. He played a couple of years for us. Mixed results, mostly bad, but had a good year as a swingman type for them. And he'll start game 4 of the World Series here. Marco Rhea, another old friend of ours. Did we wind up trading him, or did we just release him? Oh, okay. We got Jeremy Pena in that deal. We got Grant McCray. Grant McCray ever make the majors? He did. He did for Chicago. That's cool. Or sorry, we got Marco Rhea on that trade. I just non-tendered him. So, will Marco Rhea revenge series here? Did Gomez ever pitch for us? No. Okay, anyway, that's their team. 83 and 79. So, I mean, 5th in runs scored, 2nd in runs against. They probably underperformed, just looking at that. So, let's see how... Oh, yeah, they underperformed pretty significantly. They had a pretty good run differential. Their record in 1-run games wasn't great. Okay. We'll have Noah Schultz against Jason DeCaro, game 1 of the World Series. Let's do it. We win 3-2, 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and Eduardo Watkins solo homer pushes us over. Royce Lewis had a homer in this one as well. And then a really, really good start by Jason DeCaro, who's had a great playoff in 3 starts. Hagen Smith pitches well, and Jorge Mercedes gives up a run but closes it out. So we take game 1. There'll be Noble Meyer against Yuri Perez. An interesting matchup here. So, game 2, Meyer, Perez. We win 3-2 in 13. Pete Crow Armstrong, walk-off single. 4 hits in the game for him. Excellent playoffs for him so far, man. This has been great to see. Eduardo Watkins, we actually have him this time in the playoffs, and he's been fantastic as well. That's all the offense we got pretty much. And then Yuri Perez was excellent. Hunter Green, Jorge Mercedes, Hagen Smith, Johan Duran. Continues to pitch really well this playoff. And they close it out and were able to pick up the win in Game 2, go up 2-0 in the World Series against Chicago. And now we'll turn it over to the bottom half of our rotation, Spiegel and Teleka, against Cam Leiter and Ian Seymour. So let's do it. Game 3 in Chicago. We lose 8-7, 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th for him. One off Smith, one off Green. Unfortunately, bad start from Spiegel. Watkins drove in 3, though. Chad Rogers had a really nice game, but we wind up losing that one. So we'll head to Game 4, and a pretty pivotal one. We go up 3-1. It's looking really good. Tied up 2-2, anything can happen. Anything can happen either way, but of course. But all right, the rookie, Jesus Teleka against Ian Seymour, a guy we pretty much just cut from this team. Did we trade him? Yeah, no, I had non-tendered him, so there you go. A little revenge game for Ian Seymour. Teleka looking to hold that off. Let's do it. We win 5-3. Huge game. Herrera has a couple hits. Pete Crow Armstrong continues his excellent run here in the postseason. Jody Watson's been awesome as well. Justin Foscue does a little something in this one finally. Carlos Correa continues to suck, but he's good vibes at least. And Teleka, a really good start in this one. Duran gave us plenty of length, only gave up a run, and then Mercedes gave up a run, but picks up the save. And we go 3-1 in the World Series here. And an off day, and we will go back to Miami. Jason DeCaro on the mound, looking to continue his great postseason against Noah Schultz, a rematch of Game 1. So let's do it. 3-1 series lead, looking to take the World Series for the second straight season. And we do it. And Hagen Smith blew out his shoulder. He gave it his all right to the end. And Watkins got hurt. Oh, boy. Another hand injury for him. He broke his hand earlier in the year. But we win 3-0, go wire to wire in this one. Take up 2 runs in the top of the first, or the bottom of the first, and that's all we needed. And it looks like that was a Justin Foscue single. And then he had another single. So he gets 2 RBIs in this one, 2 hits. Correa gets 2 hits in this one as well. Rosado also. And Royce Lewis, a really good playoff. Luis Herrera, definitely a bounce back postseason for him after last year's disaster. And yeah, overall, great season. We pick up our second World Series in as many years and our 3rd overall in this series. Jason DeCaro, a brilliant start. A string of 4 great starts. If he didn't leave this one early, I'm sure he could have, been even better. But, a World Series MVP candidate, in my opinion. 2 great starts. And then Hagen Smith, Hunter Green, Jorge Mercedes, the 3-headed monster in the back end, closes it out. And do we have an MVP? I'd have to look. The MVP. Miami defeats Chicago, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know who the World Series MVP was, but I'm kind of curious now. It wasn't Jason DeCaro, right? Yeah. The only one I could think of is maybe Pete Crow Armstrong. Royce Lewis. He was NLCS MVP. It was Jody Watson. Justin Foscue? No way. Oh, he won Division Series MVP, though. Wasn't Luis Herrera. I'm going to find... or Nordo Watkins? Oh, my God. Nordo Watkins wins World Series MVP. The last guy I looked at, for whatever reason, he had a really good postseason, and we wind up winning our second straight. So that'll be the end of this episode. I don't know how many more seasons we got left in this. I mean, we have Watkins and Herrera locked up long term. It'd be interesting to see what happens after Lewis is done and maybe Rogers moves along. Perez is actually a free agent after next year. So, we're going to be pushing up against it pretty soon. And, we have a lot of guys hitting free agency like DeCaro and Spiegel eventually. And, we're losing most of our bullpen actually this offseason. So it'll be interesting, but we'll keep moving forward with the series. And yeah, great season. 107 wins in a World Series. So we'll see you guys next time for the offseason. Peace.